Greetings, everyone. I am Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. And today I want to go over the monthly astrology just to give you some guidance, some understanding of the astrological roadmap that lies ahead for the collective. And I want you to take time to see what really stands out for you and come up with a plan. How are you going to use this astrology to your advantage? Also, I want you to think about when we are given things like these roadmaps, these roadmaps, numerological, oracle readings, it's for a reason. It's to give us guidance on how to move forward so that when we see things that seem a little bit crazy out in the world, maybe they're not so random. Okay. Sometimes the world feels so scary when it seems like everything is just randomly happening. I remember when I used to think that I was like our little cat. Um, what was his name? Hashim. We had a cat named Hashim, and Hashim was always trying to protect himself when we first found him. He was truly a scaredy cat. And he reminded me so much of myself. I just used to always be on the lookout. I don't know when the shoe is going to drop next, and I have to stay ever vigilant. And then astrology happened, and I was like, oh, you know what? Some things are happening because energetically, it had to manifest. The energy had to manifest some way. So, this is what I want you to understand. Astrology is, in fact, energy. Everything is energy. And so the question is, how are you going to channel the astrology to support you? Okay. So thank you all so much for being here. Again, to the G Hive, the Goddess Hive. Love y'all. If you're new and watching, thank you so much. This is more than just a talking head. It's actually a community. It's actually a community. You can get on my email list, and that's how people find their way into the community because I don't just post it publicly to keep the community safe. It's like you're going to have to get on the email list, and then there's a link inside of the email list that will bring you into the community if you want to connect more deeply and in between videos. Um, so this is what we are going to do. We're going to start off with the astrology, and then after that, I have an oracle reading. So, woo! The astrology for July is a trip, y'all. It's a trip. Now, anyone who's been listening to me for any amount of time, I've been saying all along that 2025 is a beast of a year, and I need to say this now, and I will repeat myself in December of 2025, and I will repeat myself again in December of 2026. We really and truly need to understand that we are involved in what is called a marathon. This is not a sprint. We are at a time where we are being asked to learn how to be with challenging energy, uncertainty, but to remain centered in our peace, having faith in the higher divine power, while at the same time understanding we were born for such a time as this, and therefore our job is to do our destiny. So I need y'all to understand that. We need to understand that this is a very um, tumultuous time in astrology, in history, in the collective in general. Crazy part is this is not the first time it's been tumultuous like this. It's just not. It's always going to be times where it feels way more tumultuous, okay? So we're going to look at July 2025 and see what we have that lays ahead for us. So we have a lot of what we call ingresses, which means that a planet is moving from one sign into another sign. And we have four ingresses this month. We're going to have on July 4th, Venus goes into Gemini. On July 7th, Uranus goes into Gemini. Now, this is a very big deal. Venus moving into a new sign is bound to happen. Venus moves through signs about every 3 weeks. If you look here at the end of this month, July 30th, she moves into Cancer. Venus is a pretty fast moving planet unless she is, slowing down for her retrograde. So it's notable, but it happens regularly. Venus is just going into a new sign. Same with the sun, which goes into Leo on July 22nd. Hello to all of the lionesses out there. Um, so yeah, the sun about every 30 days, it's going into a new sign. But Uranus moving into Gemini, huge, big difference. Okay, so let's just talk about what happens with the ingresses. It begins to shift what the focus is. It's like the planet takes off some clothes. Maybe the planet had on clothes that would take them into the hospital or into the bank or out, being blacksmithing a tiger. And then it's time for the planet to do something new and do something different. It's like they're getting a new job and they have a whole new purpose, whole new meaning and everything. And so they need to change clothes. And so they put on the new clothes of the sign. So in this particular case, it's Gemini. Now, Gemini has been a very important sign because Jupiter was recently in Gemini. And so it's going to bring about all the things that are Geminian. It'll bring them back up, but in a Venusian way. So Venus is all about money, relationships. Um, she has to do with self-worth, value, self-value, and self-care, appearance. And she's definitely a manifesting planet. She's a benefic planet. So she brings blessings. So with Venus being in Gemini, all of her themes and what she's about, we're going to approach them in a Geminian way. And so Gemini is about the mind, mindset, ideas, thoughts, and mental health. It's all things mind. Gemini is the mind. A lot of times it's very logical. Venus can also be an emotional planet. So while she's in Gemini, she may not be very emotional. While she's in Cancer, super emotional. We probably are all emotional while Venus is in Cancer. But then, when she goes into Gemini, we're all about being very logical. Now, so it could be we need to change our mindset about our money, or there's something, getting a new idea about our appearance, um, having self-worth and self-value. But some of this might come from, again, changing the mindset or caring for your mental health. I mean, maybe you are not taking care of yourself. You're not feeling well because the kind of care that you need is actually for your mind. So focusing on mental health. Now, Gemini is an adaptable sign. And so it might be that something needs to be adapted, changed, modified, improved. It's a changeable sign, it's flexible. Everyone knows Geminis are notorious for sometimes doing multiple things at one time, or starting off doing one thing and then deciding you're going to do something else. So um, it may be something needs to be changed, updated, improved when it comes to all of the Venusian topics. Again, money, appearance. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned relationships. Huge big deal for Venus. Venus is definitely about relationships. So yeah, but the kinds of relationships that are Gemini, because both Venus and Gemini, I'll say it that way, are definitely about relationships. But Gemini is more about peer groups. A lot of people relate Venus to love relationships. She's definitely about love. Um, but Venus is about relationships in general. So that's how I see it. And in particular, when we're dealing with these Geminian relationships, while Venus is there, maybe you want to hang out with your siblings, maybe something is coming up with siblings, cousins, friends, co-workers, neighbors, all these peer groups. Could be you want to hang out more. You may feel more social, but you may want to be just hanging out with a small group of friends, because Gemini is not like Aquarius. Aquarius is like being at the concert, being out and about, and with the huge groups of people. I will say that Gemini is about um local community. So it may just feel like you want to get out more into your local community. Now, another thing that Gemini is all about is communication. And so with Venus being there, we may find that we are way more communicative. Also, Venus is very creative. So it could be some sort of, creative communication. Great for things like um, social media or networking opportunities where it could really work in your favor. Creative writing, any type of communication, speaking, whatever it is. If you need to emails, whatever, Venus being there can really help to bring about, because she's also harmony. She has a lot of grace. And so she can bring about, easy, flowy, nice type of communication where it kind of is, it attracts people, or it won't be super offensive, right? Um, so yeah, let's see here. Business, Venus is definitely good for business. So Venus in Gemini can help people who have their businesses. Um, it's Mercury is it's like a marketplace type of energy. Again, it's logical. It comes up with all these ideas. That's another thing that I think will be something that we'll see quite a bit of, people being able to um, just get a lot of really good ideas that might even lead you to making money, or maybe some ideas around, like, how are you going to take care of yourself? This is a great transit for getting out and walking and having fun. I will say Gemini is very fun. It can bring a lot of um laughter. So maybe you'll feel like you want to laugh more, and you'll get out and do things that are fun, that make you laugh. It's a very curious energy, so it could bring up a lot of curiosity. If people are looking for love, it might just be kind of like you're somewhere. I always like to tell people, you need to find people that you want to date out in places where you're doing things that you really like to do, because then you're finding somebody or you have access to people who have the same interest as you. And so yeah, maybe that'll be a way that some people will find love with that Venus being in Gemini, just being out and about, and you meet somebody, but it might be a little casual. It might take a little while. I always tell people, be ordinary. Take it slow. Okay. So then Uranus is going to go into Gemini. And once Uranus goes into Gemini, then I need you. First of all, Uranus is on the 29th degree of Taurus until the 7th of July. And I'm telling you, Uranus, it brings disruptions, and it can bring a level of upgrade, but it's so swift and so quick and so fast. You almost feel like you've been yanked up. You almost might feel a little bit like, am I really ready for this? I was just looking at a Shake. I made a video about him, and how it's only been a couple of years that he has risen into fame. And I kind of wonder, emotionally, spiritually, I think mentally, on some level, he was ready. Definitely talent wise, he was ready. But to be at that level of fame so quickly, it takes a huge adjustment. That's my thought. I've never been at that level of fame, but I just think to myself sometimes, well, I will say that had these Uranian upgrades. And I'll give y'all an example. There's a company where I was learning how to, lead women's circles. And when I first joined, or, just first learned about this company, I just felt something all in me. I said, I'm going all the way to the top. I'm going to become a trainer. Didn't quite know how it was going to happen. And it turned out it wasn't just paying to get through all of the different trainings to get to that place. Because a lot of times it's just like you start with one training, and you just keep paying, and you even pay to be a trainer. You learn how to be a trainer. Um, so I thought that that's what I was going to do, but it turned out I had a vision to help women of color within this community, and I just kept pushing for it. And then the CEO was like, you know what? Bet, let's do it. Yank. And all of a sudden, I was on the trainer team. I hadn't even gone through the training to be a trainer. I remember we did this one event for her, and I was support. I was not central at all. I was like running the Zoom room and just kind of doing the back end type of work. And at the end, it really went well, this particular launch for her. And she was like, yeah, everybody, let's thank Tyra. It was probably 600 women on this Zoom, in Zoom. And I had been there the whole time. And, it wasn't like I just showed up, but I felt so overwhelmed with that level of acknowledgement. All I could do after I got off was wrap myself up. It shook my nervous system just like Uranus does. And this was a Uranian time for me. Uranus was around my moon and my Saturn and my Mars. And but I knew astrology. And I said, you know what? I already know what's going on. And I'm gonna have to get myself adjusted so that I'm used to it. And to the point I didn't even think about it. It was just like neither here nor there. I didn't care how many women were there. So that's what Uranus will do. It's like you have to be ready, because your Uranus will create some situation where you get catapulted, into your destiny even more, but you kind of feel like, am I really ready? So this is one of the reasons why it's so important for us to always be, just believing in what we are called to do, and just do it. It doesn't need to be Facebook worthy, YouTube viral, TikTok famous. It doesn't need to be that. You just doing your destiny day in and day out because it makes you feel better. You feel aligned. The universe will start booking you, it's lining up your bookings. Uranus will come through, and all of a sudden you're all booked out. So, but what happens before all of that is sometimes that 29th degree is all about, it's like we've got to settle some things up. Something isn't quite settled, and we need to settle it up before this planet is going to go into a new sign. And Venus being on the 29th degree, let's see here, we're going to test something. So Venus will be on the 29th degree on July 4th. Okay. So I never noticed when Venus is on the 29th degree, but I'm going to test it and see what does it feel like when Venus is on the 29th degree? What karmic whatever is Venus going to, drum up for us? Mars on the 29th degree is one of those planets that I notice on a regular. Mars on that 29th degree, I'm like, oh my gosh. Occasionally, not too much happens, but a lot of times I'm just like, why Mars? Um, so yeah, that's something that I want to you to know, because Uranus, you can see here, Uranus is on that 29th degree until it moves into Gemini. So it's a little bit tumultuous. And I want you to be looking at where is Uranus asking you to make a shift or a change. And it's not super hard, because everything that I described about Venus, that's what Taurus is about. Okay. So just think about all the things that I talked about: relationships, money, appearance, self-worth, self-value, She has to do with pleasure and Taurus and food. What are you eating? And Uranus, I have to just be 100 with you all. I love personal astrology, but I have to tell you the truth that a planet like Uranus shows things that are happening out in the world. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. No, I will say Uranus was a part of the shortages, the food shortages that we experienced in 20, or maybe it wasn't just food shortages, but we had black chain, what do you call it? Um Disruptions to, all of the chains. And there were shortages of different things. I know one of the most famous things that we saw a shortage of is toilet tissue of all things. Um, so that this is Taurus supply chain. This is Taurus. Taurus is a little bit it's definitely a planet that's about the supply chain. So I want y'all to know, Uranus on the 29th degree. Let's see. Is there anything with the supply chain? It can create a lot of disruptions in the earth. To me, I see more of Jupiter and Cancer right now. It just seems like it's a lot of rain, but maybe it's just where I live. I don't know if everybody's experiencing a lot of rain. I haven't looked at the news. So that's what I want y'all to be understanding. You're going to be seeing things happening in society. You might see something unexpected happen in the banking industry, things around money, all that kind of good stuff. Personally, I don't think crypto is going to do anything because it's so corrupt. Right now, crypto is not being really shared as a way to exchange. It's more of like people are working to invest money. It's I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a financial person, but just kind of based on what I've seen, it's really just a way for people to kind of game a system to make some money. Okay. I don't think it's gonna be that. Um, but who knows? Some advancement or it's like something is rushing to get done. These are the kinds of things that we'll see. And then Uranus is going to move into Gemini. And I think that this is going to create a proliferation. We think we've seen the information age. We ain't seen nothing yet. I will say for me, I love all the planets, I love all the signs, and then I'll start figuring out certain things about them. And I'm just like, this part of you, I don't love. Gemini, I did not say Geminis, I said the energy of Gemini. It can be a little bit of a lie. It can tell lies, and it's so annoying. While Jupiter was in Gemini, Jupiter doesn't do well in Gemini. It just seems like fact from fiction. Plus, we had these planets in Pisces, so that was contributing to it. Um, so I just think it's going to be a proliferation of information, and I encourage you to look back as far as you can and get the history on anything. Don't take anything and run with it once Uranus goes into Gemini, because woo. Um, I do think that technology is going to advance at breakneck speed. So don't be surprised if people are wondering why is different technology taking such a short time. We don't need that much time. We're in technology age. Technology, information. All right. The one thing I just thought about this that I am not excited about. Uranus going into Gemini. I told y'all Gemini is the mind. Uranus is the electricity, it's energy, it's busy, it's adventurous. So I think it will give you multiple ideas. I want you to get your pen and your paper, or I want you to get an app on your phone, a notes app, and I want you to start recording everything that comes to you because it can be a great download and it can make our minds move like a runaway train even more. And so if you already have a very busy mind, then you are going to have to go out of your way while Uranus is in Gemini to bring in calmness to your mind, because yeah, Uranus is going to be whoo, and it's going to have everybody talking. I really do think if you want a podcast or something like that where you're broadcasting a message, this is your time. Maybe the gig economy is going to become something better than what it is because it's a little crappy right now. I just think that, and I'm not saying I know everything, but a lot of times what I hear is people who work in the gig economy, a lot of times, I don't know, these companies take advantage of people. So I believe that it's going to operate at the level of our consciousness. So, let us all be setting the intentions to to work with this energy in the best way possible. It'll change the way we travel, and I just think it's going to bring, maybe there's going to be more buses and trains and that kind of thing. So really, really big deal. I'm just going to do a quick plug. I am going to create an entire Uranus and Gemini video for my membership. So if you want more, you can just come into the membership, and there's going to be a video there about Uranus and Gemini. And I'll kind of talk about it, as we move forward. It's not going to be here for long. It's only going to be on 0 degrees of Gemini. And then it's going to move back into Taurus. So we ain't done with you yet, Taurus. We're not done with you yet. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be a really intense first first 7 days. Now, once Uranus moves over into Gemini, we're gonna see some big changes. Like immediately with Jupiter, I just started seeing all this rain. It's like crazy amounts of rain in my local community. I don't know about other places, but Jupiter moved into Cancer, which is water. So Uranus moving into Gemini, maybe there's going to be a lot of more wind because Gemini is a wind sign, air sign. Um, Gemini is let's see here. Um, yeah, I just connected to the air, the roadways. Maybe there's going to be more traffic, maybe upgrades. Can we get some upgrades to the roads, the infrastructure? Whoo. Okay. So, anywho, naturally, I think that it'll just be a lot of wind when Uranus moves into Gemini. Now, Uranus is electricity also, so who knows? Maybe we'll see some more electricity. So the sun is going to move into Leo on the 22nd, and having this Gemini and this Leo energy, plus we have planets in Aries. It might be a little bit of an energetic time and fun. Fire brings energy. So, we're going to have a lot of energy going on once the sun moves into Leo. Let's see here. Mercury is going to retrograde actually in Leo. So, woot! We got retrograde season coming up. But yeah, the sun in Leo, the sun is at home in Leo. So have some fun. It's a romantic time. It's a time for you to shine. I will say, and I need to look and see, is there anything new I need to do? But again, I just want to let y'all know this is a time of the spiritual new year. This is something I learned from an astrologer. Just one, hadn't heard it from other ones, but I've always bought into it ever since I heard it because I was like, ooh, that's fire. It's the astrological spiritual new year. So it is a time when these I consider them to be like ancestors of the world come together and set the agenda for the next year. I was like, oh, I'm gonna need to make sure I need to find out where they meeting. Okay. I need to show up and find out what did y'all set for us last year? What was this agenda? I need to understand, like, do we get input? Do you take community input? Because I need this agenda to be upgraded, okay? Especially here in the United States. I need it upgraded. So I hope that y'all found that funny. But anywho, yeah, so I want y'all to use that as a spiritual new year because it really is about tapping into your inner genius, your what makes you authentic, your gifts, your talents. It's truly a time to be focused on you. Plus, we have those planets in Aries. What is it like to have a day maybe where you just take a little bit of time and you assess where are you in this year and where do you want to go and celebrate yourself. Really celebrate yourself. And we're going to have time to do that because Mercury will be retrograding in Leo. So there's definitely something that we need to be reviewing about that. And then last but not least, Venus goes into Cancer. So Venus in Taurus, she feels great. Venus in Cancer, we're going to be a little bit emotional. Like, wow. We will be emotional during that time. But it really is a time where Venus is like, this is the best self-care. We really need to take that time to love ourselves, to take care of ourselves, nurture ourselves, self-love, right? We need all of that. Um, Maybe we want to be spending time with our family, or it's a time where if you haven't been eating well, it would be a really good time for you to start looking at, well, how do I need to eat in order for me to be more healthy? I think it could be an extremely intuitive time, also extremely intuitive. Maybe you need to bring some self-care to your finances, to your familial relationships, or just, it could be any relationship, but Cancer is the family. It might be a time because I think that people are going to really get into their ancestors. You may want to learn more or honor your ancestors in some kind of way. A lot of us in African spiritual traditions, indigenous traditions, we love working with the ancestors. We consider them to be um, like our archangels to a certain degree. So, or guardian angels. So I just think that Venus coming into Cancer will be an awesome time to really work with the ancestors. Um, let's see here. Mm-mm. Okay. So, yeah, enjoy that. And then what did I have next? So I put my list over here. So we're also going to have 3 retrogrades, 2, we feel their energy strongly right at the time of retrograde, but then they stay retrograde for months at a time. So they'll have us reviewing something, but we don't feel their energy as much in day-to-day life. And that is Neptune retrograde on the 4th of July. Neptune retrograde. Neptune is it's in a very important position right now because it's in the first few degrees of Aries. And so Neptune has been ushering in something new, maybe new ideals. Um, Aries is an energy that is a little bit like it's sort of a get real type of energy, to be honest with you. Aries isn't like you beating around the bush or anything like that. So maybe combining that, we're just going to be very direct type of energy with the most passive energy you could have, Neptune. There's a little bit of energy about an awakening. That's what I'll call it. So it can be an awakening to something that is just in your life and you can see it. It could also be a spiritual awakening. Okay. Now it's going to move back into Pisces. And Pisces is actually about releasing and letting go. So it's like Saturn is on that degree. It's at the beginning of Aries right here. Neptune is there. And Neptune is going to go back into Aries first. Is that right? No. No, it won't, because Neptune and I mean Saturn and Neptune are almost going to meet, but they're not actually going to conjunct, is what we call it, where they're right there on the same degree. They come very close. And I'm telling y'all, this first, let's see here, Saturn retrogrades on the 13th. So I would say the first, well, maybe all of July is significant because when 2 planets come together and conjunct, it's like they're a super planet. And in conjunctions bring what is called intensity, and it brings new beginnings. And so there's something new unfolding. Now, I have to, again, be honest, Saturn, Neptune, more societal planets than anything. If they're interacting with your personal planets in your natal chart, that's when you really start to, you can feel it the most. But there's something new on the horizon. And it's sort of like this energy of like you have this idea, you have this dream that is looking for you to manifest it. And you have to take action. This is what this is all about. You have to be willing to be determined and focused and to bring that passion and that energy. It's just, the placements. If this was happening in Pisces, it would be a whole different way that I was describing it. It would be very, very different. So this month is really going to be showing you all, what is this Neptune and this Saturn coming together? What are they really going to be bringing? And, in the goddess framework that I teach, awareness is the first thing that I like to focus on. And the keys to self realization and self mastery, awareness is one of the 4 keys. And it's like, I want y'all to be empowered to pay attention to your life that you know better than anybody, and pay attention. What is coming up during July for you? So if it's in Aries, it could be something with the body. It could be a complete and total new beginning you feel like you're going in. Like I said, an awakening of some sort could be happening. Or there is a dream and you're feeling more and more called to put a plan together. Like, make concrete steps to manifest this plan. All right. And a lot of this is going to be through being disciplined, having structure, having boundaries. All right. There's definitely this energy of spirit that I think is talking to a lot of people. It's kind of like spirit is giving you practical wisdom, something like that. And I want you just to pay attention because, May, it's in Aries, but what area of your chart does Aries rule? Yeah, it might have something to do with the body, but if it's happening in the house that has to do with money, then you it's like all of what I said in general applies to you and money. Some new beginning about money, some kind of way of making a dream of making more money. Put a plan together and let's do it. Let's make it happen, So it all depends. But I want you to be aware. I want you to pay attention to what it's bringing up for you in your life. So both of those are retrograding. Aries back into Pisces. But right now, Aries, their energy is super strong, and it could be a revelation, an insight, or a true physical manifestation of something happening around, the 1st through the 5th, as well as, I'll just say, the 10th through the 15th. Just pay attention. That time could feel ultra tense, especially with the Saturn retrograde, because it's right there with that Jupiter full moon. I mean, that full moon in Capricorn. So okay. And then lastly, we're going to have Mercury retrograde on the 18th. And again, Mercury is retrograding in Leo. And I will be talking a little bit more about this on my public channel, but I like to do deep dives. And those deep dives are what I put inside of my membership. My membership is only $9.99. I want to keep it a low ticket. And you can get what I share. Of course, I always, add an oracle reading in there. But this Mercury retrograde is always, always, always about, we need to slow it down. And, we have Pluto is already retrograde, then Neptune retrograde, then Saturn retrograde, now Mercury retrograde. Now, we did start off at the top of the year in retrograde season. It felt like we were never going to get out of it. And here we are again. The difference is, it's mostly outer planets that are retrograding, but that Mercury retrograde, it's going to slow a lot of stuff down. I talked about Uranus being in Gemini. Well, Mercury rules Gemini. So Uranus will kind of come in there and create like this big energy. But then once Mercury retrogrades, Uranus, it's going to have to slow it down a little bit. Okay. I love being in slow motion, not all the time, but it helps me to really see. Okay. So, awareness, I've been using that today. Mercury retrograde is about awareness. What do you need to be aware of that you can't see? Because, Mercury is always moving at breakneck speed. Okay. We're going to slow it down. Let's see what Mercury really wants us to notice in our lives. And if you have a bunch of unfinished stuff, this is a good time. Make plans for Mercury retrograde to work on stuff that you haven't finished. You started it, but it's not complete. And with it being in Leo, you'll have fun, right? Leo loves to have fun. It's this energy of motivation. It's a fire sign, so it brings energy. Um, and maybe you just need to, slow down and do Leo things, which is have a good time, dress up, do theater, go enjoy yourself. What's your hobby? Do your hobby during this time. Who knows? You know what you really need. Your life will be showing you what you really need. Your Ori, higher self, inner goddess will tell you what you need. Okay. So we're going to have all these retrogrades kicking in and wowzers. I will say I love that Jupiter goes visible on the 12th. It can't go visible soon enough. It feels like everything is going wrong in the court systems here in the United States. I'm just like, not everything. That's hyperbolic. But yeah, Jupiter's energy, when it's invisible, it's even more weak than being retrograde. It's very, very weak. Planets need rest. Guess who else needs rest? You and me. So, Jupiter's been resting. It started at the top of June, and Jupiter will become visible. It will bring more abundance, more prosperity. Um, and it's in a sign that it loves to be in, which is Cancer. So, it's just going to bring way more strength. And I think it's just going to bring a lot of intuition. But July 12th, Jupiter goes visible, which means its energy, you can see it in the sky, and its energy is now, you can use it to manifest. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Moon, Sun, those are all planets that we can see in the sky. And so they help us to manifest, in the physical. So that's exciting. That's very, and it's actually super strong too. So again, there's something, the energy can be a little intense around that full moon and, a few days beyond it. So don't be surprised if it feels a little intense. Then we're going to have the almost conjunction. Now, this is crazy. Saturn and Neptune almost conjunct, which it creates, like I said, intensity. These planets are slow and very, very strong just unto themselves. That could be a day that we all are kind of like, what is really going on? It could be a really incredible day. To a certain degree, I say, let us hold space that it will manifest with the highest vibration possible. But also on that same day, no. Yes, around that same time, Mars is going to connect to, I'm going to show y'all. Okay, so I created a range, and the range I have for Mars connecting with the North Node is July 17th through the 24th. So I really do think we need to understand that it can feel challenging during that time. I just want to be honest with you. The actual conjunction of Mars to the South Node is on the 21st. And the last time Mars connected with that South Node, mm, 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 you know, it can really create a a lot of it can create some great losses. That's what I'm gonna say. It can create. Don't be surprised if the portal between here and ancestor world is open at that time. And we hear of some, I remember when Mars was with the South Node in Capricorn, uh, there was some famous chef who, as we say on these platforms, unalived himself. And then there was a woman, I don't remember who she was, but it happened all right there together. Um, and I don't want to speak negativity, but it's just what I've seen. And I want to give you heads up. Um, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. But Mars, it's this energy of being brave. And there's something that we're being asked to release and let go of, especially in terms of our health, habits, well-being, that kind of thing. Maybe something around work, um, routines. It's something that we need to be given up. The South Node being there without Mars is like, hey, you got to change the way you're living. You got to let go of some stuff. So when Mars gets there, it's kind of like, we about to do it. It's like Mars comes in and it's like, oh, there's a Band-Aid. For all the medical people out there, there's one place I go, and as soon as I come out from giving blood, I'm taking that Band-Aid off. Those Band-Aids, you talk about ripping those Band-Aids off, and it's like, wow, I need to put some Lancin on my skin, some cocoa butter or something, because that was a Band-Aid rip right there. That's what Mars comes in and does with that South Node. It rips the Band-Aid off. Okay. But you know that it's happening, and now all you need to do is just to pay attention. I really do think that, you know, it's a little bit challenging. It's a little bit challenging this month, little bit challenging, but you already know what's happening. So okay, I looked at all my notes. Interestingly, crazy. I'm gonna take this down. I think I'll do it this way. The goddess that I pulled is Lilith. What is Lilith doing? Let's check her out. Uh is she on here? Let me see. Why did I ask? Why did I ask? Lilith is in Scorpio. I'm not keeping up with her here lately. I've been doing other things. I'm like, oh my God. Woo. Okay. So this month is a month where we'll be hyper focused on tapping into the power within with Lilith. Why did I ask? Where is Lilith? That's right now we're being asked to tap into our power. Where were you disempowered? Right? Where were you disempowered? Lilith is like, hey, you're gonna have to step into it. So Lilith is the goddess of wanton sexual power who can never be overtaken and manipulated. Originally an ancient Sumerian goddess, she later was morphed by the Hebrews into the first female on earth, unwilling to be subservient to Adam. Lilith not only left him, but used her wiles to trick God into giving her wings so that she was able to fly far from Eden into the desert. She brought agriculture to the people and the protector of children and women in childbirth. Interestingly, Taurus and this Uranus, this last little bit being there, I wonder if it's something connected to Lilith. Beautiful Lilith flies above the shackles of this world on her wings of freedom. Her talent feet are her foundation of wildness and power. Lilith's fiery, independent Aries spirit, I forgot to say, yes, she's connected to Aries. So there's another connection. Um, is without compromise, insisting through her very nature that women are beings of equality, answerable to no one. She is sexual freedom and expression, a leader who empowers others. And I just want you to be the leader of your own life. You don't have to be out here leading a whole bunch of people. Can you just be the leader of your own life and let your example be what powers others? Now, Lilith teaches you to trust your own core power. Take the lead in your life and go for it. In the full expression of your sexual energy and unbridled power of authority, you show uncompromising loyalty to your inner passion. Now, wait a minute. Woo! Lilith has me. I'm sweating. Where's my little fan? Oh my goddess. I need to find it. Let me use this little piece of paper. So, whoo! Leo is loyalty. Leo is loyalty. And Aries is passion. Woo! Lilith is on fire. Got me heated up. Okay. You show, this is what you need to do, uncompromising loyalty to your inner passion. Your own authenticity is at issue. Very, very good. That's what I want y'all to be thinking about during this Mercury retrograde. How is your authenticity being compromised, and where do you need to stand more in your power? This is the time to let loose the strength of your desire and focus on your goals to take you to where you deserve to be. Lilith. Okay? Hold 1 second, y'all. I got to pause it. Ooh, I had to pull out my menopause fan, baby. Whew. So what y'all gonna do? Well, I don't even know if I need to do these other cards. Is this enough? Woo. Okay, so the second card I pulled is the child of innocence. And when I pulled it, I was like, that's weird. We're going from Lilith to this little baby wrapped in the ocean in a little cowrie shell. So, it's all about innocence. Whenever we're working with the child energy within ourselves, I can see how this is a thing. Aries is the baby. It really is. I know it's a warrior energy. A lot of times people think about it being, this fighter, this warrioress energy. But it's really it's the first sign in the in the astral wheel. So it represents the infancy stage of life. And so I think returning to innocence to a certain degree, what's your relationship with the great divine? Can you trust the divine is working in your favor? This little being is how we once were, where we didn't worry about anything. We were just in the womb. And so it's important for you to allow yourself to feel that level of innocence. Maybe sometime during this month, even when Venus goes into Cancer, we have Jupiter in Cancer. We may not have talked a lot about Jupiter today, but Jupiter is in Cancer. And it's like, what are you going to do to nurture yourself and just let yourself be? That's what we need more of. And the next card is a wind card. This is the Crone Wind energy. She's Aquarius, which is what I thought. And the wind, again, is the mind. So, wow. We have Pluto in Aquarius straight up. And Uranus is going into Gemini. Whoo, that's a lot of wind, baby. That's a lot of wind. All right. So I'll read this one. It says the Crone of Wind is the wise eagle woman of vision who accesses the hidden worlds beyond the everyday perspective. Holding the egg, you can see she has an egg. Holding the egg of fertile possibilities, she is the totality of all creative forces from which the world is born. This wise woman ascends through her perfect eagle eye sight, the visionary who has achieved spiritual cognition and is spirit embodied. Her expression and her vision are one, her thinking intuitive, her perception all encompassing. I'm just kind of hearing it's important for you to be congruent. Body, mind, spirit, emotion. Say what you mean what you say, feel it when you say it. And, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it aligns. We need to practice living like that day by day. That's how we're supposed to live every day. So that's what I'm going to, add to that's what she's making me think about. She comes to you with gifts of insight now needed to ascend above your present circumstances into new realities and perspectives of possibilities never imagined before. And we really are living at a time like that. I keep telling everybody keeps saying, this is going to happen. And I'm like, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I do know what the astrology holds. This is not the astrology of this thing is defined. It is far from that. It holds the energy of lack of definition. We sort of like we're making it up as we go. Okay. So I want you to remember that. She comes to you with gifts of insight now needed to ascend above your present circumstances into new realities. I've said at the beginning of this, we need to, it won't be until we get through 2027. I'm not even saying the top of 27. I'm saying through 27 that things will sort of settle down a little bit. Okay. Um, above your of possibilities never imagined before. Okay, we're going into new realities and perspectives of possibilities never before imagined. She brings pristine vision to assist you in forming a new way of seeing and creating your world. And maybe with everything slowing down, that's what we're going to be able to see. Open your mind to see new paradigms, to pioneer into unknown realities. We could not have gotten a better message today, you all. Thank you to the Crone of Wind. Leading the way for others in changing the course of the world forever. Wow. I guess I did need to do the rest of these cards. Lilith, I thought we were done with Lilith, but the Wind Crone was like, I'm gonna need you to wait until I speak, and then you can make a decision about who's bringing the fire today. Okay, last card, Moon Stag. Moon Stag. This is from my Moon Magic deck. The other cards are from my Mythical Goddess Tarot deck. And when I saw the Moon Stag, I thought, I think this one goes with Lilith. I think this one, she look a little fiery. Or he, might be a he since it's a stag. Yeah, he. Okay, so Moon Stag, regal, authority, support. The Moon Stag is a magical heart, H-A-R-T, holding the full moon in his antlers. He is an aspect of the antler horned god and represents regal power. So, what is regal power? Oh, you say it's Leo? Okay, Leo, I see you speaking to the Moon Stag. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you, Leo. He is the monarch of the misty glen, Glen, by moonlight, the keeper of dreams. His power, okay, Lilith, but this is the male version, is immense. His strength, the might of combat during the rut. He comes to let you know that you hold a spark of divinity within you, and he wants you to tap into it. He encourages you to find your own regal power and to expect good things to happen to you and for you. As he watches over you, his protection is absolute. And once you have befriended the Stag Lord, he will never leave you to fight your battles alone. For he is there in your heart, giving you courage and making you bold. I see you, Aries. I see you, Mars. Certain hearts have long been considered to bring good fortune to all who see them, and stags are linked with abundance and prosperity. I see you. So, a time of receiving all good things is about to unfold for you. Open your hands to receive it, goddess. Hold your hands open. Catch it. Accept all the challenges that lie ahead, for you have the capacity to achieve great victories in your life if you are brave enough to stand your ground. Oh, see, this is what I say. I'm here to elevate the goddess, but baby, masculine energy is all right with me. Okay, okay, Moon Stag. Okay. I'm going to, I always got to bring in Africa. I see you, Hera Kahuti. I see you, Ogun. Okay. I see you. So yeah, that's powerful. This is not a time to cower down. It just isn't. It's not a time. Um, so I think this energy of the moon stag is really saying, no matter what this month brings, you're going to have to be brave, bold, courageous, understanding that you have protection around you. Could be your ancestors, could be the moon stag, Herakuti Ogun Mars. It could be your ancestors, whoever you're calling on and whoever you work with. The support is there. But to a certain degree, in order for us to activate it, we have to also be activated ourselves. We have to be willing to tap into our power and just it's like, yes, there's this soft part that we need to tap into. We need to have that energy where we're not always on. We are taking care of ourselves, right? And there are also times that call for us to stand flat-footed and say, hey, I'm gonna face this thing. I'm gonna do this thing. I will be brave. I will have that courage. Doesn't mean I'm not scared, but for me, it's all about connecting to the destiny. Sometimes it's about getting free of, they call them haints in the I think it was called haints in centers. Haunts. What is haunting you? And sometimes that is the thing we most have to have the courage to face. I want you to remember that. And this might be one of those months where it comes up. And sometimes it's about your destiny, your dreams. Are you going to dig deep within and do what it takes to live out your destiny, whatever that looks like? Again, we do not need to go viral. I don't even feel like people need to really know anything about what I'm doing, except for the people who need to know. And that will take you very, very far. Maybe Uranus far. Thank you all so much. I hope that this has been helpful to you. I'm wishing you a beautiful July. I'm sending you a hug. I'm sending you a hug. I'm getting reading after reading after reading that's kind of like, Tyra, you are in your 50s. You are on path to being a true elder. You're a baby now, so I'm going to need you to be tougher. So some of what you hear from me is a little bit of like what I'm getting from spirit. It's like, yeah, tough times may come and you're tougher. And that's what I say to you, goddesses. So I'm sending you so much love and I'm reminding you of the power that lies within you in this here month called July 2025. Thank you so much. I would love it if you would like, maybe share a comment, let me know what you got from the video. If you aren't already a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's hook up, be a part of the community right here in All Things Goddess World. And I said I don't monetize one video, not one. So if you feel led to leave a super thanks of some sort, I'm here for it. So thank you all so much. Again, if you join my email list, you can join the free community that I have. And if you decide you want to be a part of the Soul Alchemy membership, come on in. We'd love to have you join us. I even put my belly dance classes there, so you can belly dance with me. Get all the deeper dives that I do with astrology and the oracles, and yeah, just have a good time. So y'all have a wonderful July, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace and love.